Hey guys, welcome back to Urban Rhino Tutorials. Today I'm going to show you how to make a teacher chalkboard wreath. So on this kit, or in this kit, you should receive a bag of new crayons, several of those, and you'll have a wood board like this. You will need a hot glue gun for this project, but everything else that you will need would be included in the kit if you purchase that. I'll include a link in the description below. But what we're gonna do to begin, we're gonna take out all the crayons, and you can do this one of two ways. So you could either lay them out around and just kind of do them random, or you can put them in rainbow order. Again, it's really up to you. I'm actually going to do them kind of more random. So I'm not going to put I'm going to make sure I avoid putting two blues next to each other. But for this particular one, I am not going to do rainbow. So what you're going to do is you want to make sure that you are gluing these pieces in far enough so that your chalkboard will sit on top of them. So the chalkboard is going to sit right on top like this. So you can see when you get to these parts, you know, the crayons need to be in a little ways. So what we're gonna do, and they will just hang over just slightly. So just kind of lining it up. Yeah, that should be good. So if you want to kind of use on the crayons, this little design here, so if you want to plan on gluing them so that the bottom of this line is just over the edge like that, then that should work. So what you're gonna do is just start gluing strips. You can lay out all of your crayons first if you want, or you can just start gluing them. It's up to you. You do want to fill up all of the space, and because it's a circle, obviously the inside is going to be, you know, an inside circle here is going to be smaller than what the outside, so kind of like a track. So the bottoms will touch, and then the tops will have the slightest little gap in between them. And that will make sure that you don't end up with your crayons like this, okay? You need them to start curving around. So let me slide these off, and then we'll begin putting some more on. Another thing you can do is if you want to put you know, kind of start putting them in like a clock, which I can show you how to do that, and then go back in and fill in the gaps. You can do that as well. So again, I'm using this as the gauge here, so that little design. And we'll put one up here at the top. Another thing you could do if you want to make sure it's absolutely perfect is you could take something that is round and trace a circle on the inside and use that as your bottom gauge, you know, so that you know that the bottoms of your crayons touch that inside circle. So again, I'm just kind of filling these in kind of like the hands of a clock. And then that way, when I go back and fill in between, I know that they need to meet up to this. So again, I want to avoid the crayons going off like this. So they need to slowly turn. So let's get another one on here. These would make great gifts for a teacher for their birthday, Christmas, Teacher Appreciation Week. Or if you're a teacher yourself and you just want to make one, you can certainly do that. So again, I'm kind of just spacing them out like this, still using that little black design and lining them up just right below it. Like this, and I'm gonna do one more and then I'll start filling them in. Okay, so those will kind of be my guides. So I want to make sure that I match up to each of those. So again, we're just going to continue on here. Make sure I'm on the screen and just leaving the slightest little gap in between. And if you don't like how much space you leave between one, you can certainly just kind of pop that one off and fix it. I like kind of spacing them out like this so that it helps me kind of determine where they need to go. Okay, so here's a case where there's a little bit extra space, you know, a little too much here, not enough there. So all I have to do, just pop that one off, not a big deal, and I'll move it over just a tiny bit so that there's room to put one more in there. So let's do, trying to find a color I haven't used. Okay, so like that. And again, I'm just going to finish filling all of this in with the crayons, and I should end up having it completely filled. And then when we come back, I'm going to show you how to assemble the chalkboard and everything else. Okay, so as you can see, I have all of the crayons glued down now. There's some spacing in between them to allow them to curve. And you will end up with, 12 to 20 or so extra crayons. That will allow for any mistakes you might make. So if you glue two that are too close together and you need to peel one up at the chance that, you know, your crayon breaks, that is why we include some extra. So what we're gonna do from here is you're gonna take your chalkboard. I have already put a teacher's name on here, and I actually used the a paint or a chalk marker. You will get a piece of chalk that you can certainly use. And I just use this for the sake of the tutorial because if I'm pressing on it and stuff, I don't want to smear it. I also think if you use the chalk marker or even a paint marker, it's better to put the name on first and let it dry. That way you're not trying to like work over top of everything once you get it all assembled. So if you're using regular chalk, I would suggest putting the name on at the very end. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is finish putting everything together. So we are going to glue the chalkboard down, and we're gonna be using hot glue again. Just want to make sure it's nice and centered. Okay, like that. Press it down well. Okay, and then from here, we are going to put these little wooden school-themed cutouts, and you can certainly place these on wherever you want. You'll get the little schoolhouse, the bus, the apple, and the pencil. I kind of like them like this. The school bus is longer, so I feel like it fits better here. The same with the pencil. And then I just kind of separated the colors, so that way the red is not next to the red and the yellow by the yellow, if that makes sense. So same thing here. You're just going to glue these down like this. Make sure they're on there well. You know, if you want to put your pieces, you know, somehow more actually like up on the chalkboard part itself, you could certainly do that as well. You know, all 4 of them or whatever. I'm gonna stick with the crayon, putting them on the crayons. Okay. Like this. And then to grab another hot glue stick. So once we finish this, what you're going to do is make your like bow out of the measuring tape and the ribbon. And I'm going to show you how to do that, because sometimes when people try to tie a bow, it looks like a hot mess. So I'm going to show you kind of a easier way to do that. Okay, so we've got our little wood pieces on there. Super cute. So we're going to start with the ribbon here that looks like kind of like chalkboard with the ABC 1, 2, 3 on it. And we're going to be making a couple loops. So like this, and then the string is going to hang down. So you can kind of guesstimate how long you want. So I've got it looped here, and then this part's hanging, and I do want it to kind of overlap here. And then I'm going to cut that. Actually, I'm going to cut it at an angle like that. And then I'm going to cut another one that is the same length for this side. Okay, so now I've got my 2 like this. And what we're going to do, let me scoot this down a little bit so you can see. You're going to make a loop, and I want to make sure that it's positioned so that it doesn't block her name, although we will, you know, glue this kind of in place. So I think right there is good. So I'm going to put a drop of glue here, and I'm going to put the bottom of the loop and then another drop so that I can keep it looped like this. I want to keep this sticking up, so I'm not going to glue it together, but I am going to put a little drop of glue on these crayons to kind of keep the ribbon sitting up there so it doesn't fold over when the teacher hangs this up. Okay. Getting all the little glue strands out of the way. And then I'm going to get my next piece wherever I set it, and same thing here. And you can see I paid attention to making sure that the font, the ABC 1, 2, 3, is going the right way. You don't want it to be upside down. I want this loop to be the same size, so about like that. Okay, again, put a little drop, put the bottom piece, another drop, just like that. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna do a few things with the measuring tape. So we're gonna be cutting this. And I just noticed, so on my ribbon, the way I have it trimmed, so like the angle is going this way on this one and it's this, so I'm just gonna correct that because I'm a little OCD about stuff like that. Okay, that works. And then we're gonna have a string of this hanging down as well. And I think I want it to be up a little higher like that. And again, I'm going to cut it. And we're not making the same type of loop on this one. So you can decide too if you want it to be longer, shorter. I want it to be just about like that. So I'm gonna cut it. And I'm gonna make a second one that's the same length. And then I'll cut the angle the right direction. So we'll glue this. So put a drop of glue. Secure it. So you can see it's not directly over top of it. That way I can see both strands. So I can see the measuring tape as well as the actual ribbon. And then my other one. About like that. And I'm gonna cut the angle in it and glue. And again, I'm making sure not to, it is overlapping up here, but then it splits apart. That way, again, you can see both ribbon. Okay, so then I'm gonna have basically like a bow that's gonna fold right here. And then I'm gonna have one at the top that would be what she could use to hang it. So this one, I want to be, trying to see here, about this big. So I'm gonna cut it, but I'm not gonna glue it down yet. I'm gonna set that one to the side. And then I'm going to, because before I glue that, that'll be the last piece I glue on. I want to make my part that goes at the top. And this you can make as long as you want. I am going to make it about 10 inches long, but doubled over. So a total of about 20 inches. So I'm folding it over. And you can tell it's about 10 inches because of the measuring tape. So, and I'm gonna cut it, and you'll have some extra measuring tape, so just set that to the side. So I have this loop now, and I'm going to secure it to the top just like this. And again, that's what she can use to hang it, or he, she or he, depending on who you're making this for. So I put my drop of glue to put the first piece and then the second piece on there. Like that. So now we've got the hook or the hanger, whatever you want to call it. And then the last part is the final little bow that we're going to put on here. And I've got it cut, and I want my two parts, my two ends that are cut, to be here in the middle. So again, glue, put one side down, and then glue again and put the other part down. And then you're gonna glue the very center of it once this cools down. Okay, so find the middle. And so mine is about 18.5 there. Put one more little strip of glue. and glue that. Like so. So the only other thing that I'm gonna do to this, other than pull off any little hot glue strands, is I'm gonna glue these pieces here because when she hangs it, these could fall down and kind of block her name, which I don't want. So just putting the little drops of glue to kind of hold those in place. And I think the measuring tape will be fine where it is. I am gonna put one more drop of glue here to hold that one, and one here. Okay, so that is it. You know, this is a more time-consuming craft. However, I guarantee any child that gives this to their teacher, myself being a teacher, I would be ecstatic to get this, especially knowing the amount of work that went into it. And while it's time consuming, it's definitely not difficult. So it's something you could absolutely do with your child and really make it special for the teacher because the kid would have a hand in creating it. So again, we have this whole kit to create this on our website. I will include the link in the description below if you want to snag that up before Teacher Appreciation Week. And that is it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys.